Hello YouTube friends, welcome to the Red Parrot channel. I am your host Mary Ellen. This is an episode of Slow Stitching So Saturday, because today is Saturday and it is my weekly update on all of my slow and not so slow sewing projects. But it's slow because that's about the speed that I go, whether it be by hand or machine. So where do we start? So an episode back maybe I did an undoing of some fabric. Yeah, let's do this first. Okay, so this is the fabric done and dried. This is the buckthorn. Look at that yellow. So that's that side, and that's this side. So look at that yum. Look at that yum. And this purple is where the berries were. And this is the closest to the doweling, and this is the closest to the heat. So if I did these about that size, we would probably get better coverage and then do more dowels with less fabric. What did I want to do? I know what I wanted to do. I wanted to make notes. That's what I want to do. It's notes. It's notes. Let's use this piece of paper that's just kicking around. And this is so that we remember, we being me, of what and when and where and why. Okay, so this is a buckthorn. This was September 2025. I had 15% woof, and that's buckthorn, leaves, berries, IES, and there was a little bit of bark. Limited supply. There we are. So that was buckthorn. Next is this, which is the sumac. And I think what happened here was this is a bit of a buckthorn as well that just happened to go in here. Now, which side is which? This is the right side. Oh yes, of course it is. You can tell. So you can see the marking. So this is a nice color. So hang on a second. So here is the hexes that I have. And in terms of color, this is going to be a new color introduced. It's kind of a red. And this I think is relevant because I think I'm changing the way I'm going to put these together. And I may need some additional squares, and having squares of a different color would be useful. Was that buckthorn? It was not beech, because there's this color as well. It's kind of like in the yellows, but I like this one as a ruddy red. So I'll put this away. Foldy fold. And I do try, so when I'm rolling up the doweling, it's on a double ply, and I roll it up this way. And I really do try and get the dye matter up close to where this fold happens. And I just didn't do that good job with that little bit there, which is a stumble-mare, man, stumble-mare. So we got that. Okay, dokey, smoky, pokey. And this is sumac, September 20, 25, 15% of alum. There. Cut that in there. So we've got two. So yeah, it is different color. Kind of. I think that's what that is. Those are sages, onion, walnut, marigold, clover or grape. And I think that is beech. Okay, so squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. And this is goldenrod. Which is a nice sort of soft yellow. So that's how they came out. Let's just write a note. September 2025. Oops, 15% wolf alum, goldenrod. And this is a slightly different color than that, so I sort of have 3 more colors, sort of. So this was just stuff that I popped into the bottom of the pot. So as the colors sort of drip down into the boiling water, I quite often will put a fabric in just to see what I get. And there is just it's mostly buckthorn and maybe goldenrod. It's a nice sort of green, but I'm not gonna worry about what that is. So, I had acorn. I dyed the bag with acorn. Do I have the bag? I have the bag. Hang on. So here is my, so this used to be very stark linen, and this is dyed in acorn, and it's a really nice sort of tawny color, and that's just a piece of string that I threw in it. It's the same color. And let's hang that up. Next is I have been, I created a dye pot of black walnut dye, and I put this in, and I just let her be. And this is the most glorious khaki. So this is the same dye type as that. I know, that is bananas. Different time of year, different process, a different time, different heat application, a lot of differences. And I also plunked in a little bit of string to go with. So if I had that, see, this is really dark. It's dark in like that kind of a flavor, but I could do this a little bit lighter, and then I would get 4 more colors, but I at least have that and that, if not that. So we're getting somewhere. This one for sure, possibility of doing some more of that. So that's what my dye exercise is, part 1. Dye exercise part 2 that I have not started. It's an idea. So more of the sheeting. Do I have a bit? No, I don't. Well, we'll have to. Sure, I'll show you the sample anyway. So here is my thought. There is a Japanese technique called shibori, and it is basically taking white cotton or white linen, some combination thereof, Wool is another one, but probably not so much wool because wool is thicker. Cotton and linen can be nice and thin. Important because there's a lot of folding that happens, and the folding thick wool just gets unwieldy quickly. So white fabric, indigo dye. Take white fabric, fold it in particular ways, dip it in the indigo dye certain ways, unfold, and then you have patterns that emerge based on however you fold it. I have no indigo. I have no indigo yet. I have a friend of mine who has an indigo garden in BC, and she has sent me a pile of seeds. So maybe next year we'll be able to do some indigo stuff. I don't know. So I do have this black walnut that quite likely would work kind of the same. So essentially what you do, and this is, I'm just doing this as like a sample, not for realsies. So what you do is you take, you're always doing accordion folding. So you're not doing this way. You're going just like you would folding like an old-timey fan. You're folding it that way, and then this way, and that way, and this way, that way, and this way, that way, and this way. When I test this for real, this is going to be a lot more precise. Also, I am going to press lightly this seaming so that there is like a sharp edge to it. So once you have this done, you can then do some other kind of folding in it. So let's say we do that. This is going to be just a basic square. Then before you put it in the die, okay, we have to pretend for a minute. Pretend this is a square piece of wood. So you're going to put a square piece of wood on this side. And pretend that this is another square piece of wood that's the same size. And then you're going to put an elastic band on it. And you're going to squish it. Like wrap the elastic really, really tightly. So that there is pressure on the inside and less pressure on the outside. So the pressure makes sure that the dye doesn't get to the center because there's so much pressure that the water can't permeate, but it can permeate the outer edges. That's sort of how it all kind of works. So dip, 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 undo everything, and then you would be able to do this, and then technically speaking, you would have little squares. So I want to try that. I want to try. I will, of course, keep you posted. So that's that. Next up is I want to do, so this is, there's a lot that's K3N's fault. She got a beautiful hand-turned spool that she said that she wanted to do a snippet roll on. And I have made my own spool. So this is, everything is from the dollar store. This is doweling cut to about, I think, 2.5, a little over 2.5 inches. And then these little bits come as a set, and I only needed 2. But if this works, I'll do it again. So never wasted. And then I've glued this together. I know they're not perfect. We don't have to worry. And so this is then going to be my fabric that I'm going to put on here. And we'll see how far we get. But essentially, it's going to be like that. So what I want to do, so one of the things that happens to me is I shall show you, bits. I get bits like this, and I don't know what to do with these bits. They make me bananas because I can't throw them out, and nor do I have the wherewithal at the moment to do anything with them. So I figure if I sew that onto a snippet roll, at least then I have a place for it. And also because it's sort of the way my mind works, and well, I guess a lot of people's memory works, is they just need to see a little bit of that fabric. And it's like, oh yeah, remember that project. Oh yeah, I remember that project too. I also have a lot of dye material that, because I've done all of these hexes, I have the little corners. So that's another thing that I can put on this. And this, I think, is acorn dyed. So a lot of stuff. This will more than exceed the limits here. So maybe we should start with the dyeing. So that's that. One more before we get to maybe a big thing. So we're nearly done this sock. So we are now officially at doing the toe. So this should be done by the end of today. And then I'm going to go back and make the second green sock. So I'll cast on for that. So that's sort of my standard work in progress. So here's my next 10 miles. And I can't remember if I've shown you this or not. If I haven't, we will do a recap. See this fabric. Blue and black. This is the fabric that was used. Gotta work with me here. Follow me through this. So, baseball, Blue Jays team. I go a lot. Some games have what they call giveaway days. So they will give you something. They'll give you a hat. They'll give you a scarf. They'll give you a bobblehead. They'll give you a lot of shirts. So replica shirts, t-shirts, and so for the fan appreciation weekend, which is like a big deal, they will give you sort of a really nice thing. So they've given away, they've also given away hockey jerseys, and vests, and a lot of shirts. And so this was the fan appreciation. It was this fabric in a long sleeve shirt. So basically a lumberjack shirt, but in this colorway. And so because this is check, this to me screams, I want to make a kilt. And because they only do one size, they do like basically a men's extra large for everybody. So when you're a 5-year-old kid and you put one of these jerseys on, they are the most adorable looking little kids ever. Anyways, squirrel. Back to point. This is perfect for making a kilt. And so I had a shirt and I got 2 more, don't ask, all perfectly legal. And you can then do, what are we doing here? You can do the folding for a kilt. So this happens to be the waistband. And I will show you the kilt. So, easiest way to do this, I suppose, is on the side. So you can see what has happened. So here's the button part of the shirt. I'm careful when I'm doing this kind of build, because you don't want to cut off too much too soon because you regret it. And so this may be cut off, but it will be cut off eventually. So this is a note for me that this is the top front. And then, so this is the bottom of the shirt, and it already has the hem done, so I don't have to hem it. And this was how you do a kilt, is you sort of lay out a very long stretch of fabric, and then you start folding it, And then as you fold it, you need to baste it. So you pin, baste, and then you sew. So this has been sewn via machine. This is still in the basted form. I'm not going to pick this out until I need to, because once you do that, you have so much fabric that it's going to be just all over the place. So my trouble is up here. So as weird as that looks, and as weird as that looks, that's actually correct, because I want to have this a little bit wider and this a little bit narrower, because this is the waist, and a woman's waist is usually kind of like that. So you need the waist to be a little bit tighter and not sort of like a cylinder. It's more like a cone. And so I might need to do something like that when I sew the waistband. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to do. And so that's going to be what I'm going to be working on, I think, most immediately. I can't do this on camera because it's just going to be painful for everyone. But that's where I'm at. Where else? So do we want to spend an hour together? We can spend, hang on, let me get some sewing. Okay. We're still working on this. This is the book that I have. It's so interesting. So this was all, not all of it, this was steam dyed. I think everything else was sun dyed. This was steam dyed. I'm going to say steam dyed. And everything else was jar dyed, and this was jar dyed, and then there's an iron saddening. Okay, squirrel. We're working on red. So the end of the J season is this coming weekend. And I would like to have the kilt done by then. No particular reason, except that that sounds like a good idea to me. This is all here? I think it is. What do I want to do? Those were not, so let's do some, whoops. Well, that's not ideal. There we are. Ooh, I like how that turned out. I need a good meal and a good rest and some quiet, I think, for me to figure out what to do with this kilt. And it doesn't need to be perfect. So the first kilt that I made for judging. And so that means that there would be experts looking at it in some detail. And so it needed to have a certain level of quality. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. I don't know. So this shirt doesn't have, or at least this kilt doesn't have the same quality, because the other one I was very meticulous about doing that gathering at the back. And this one not so much. But nobody is going to, like literally nobody is going to care. So I just need to find an efficient way of being able to get over it. Come on. No? Nobody? Alrighty, do it again. I wrapped too tight. There. Is that better? Not by much. There we are. I wonder if I need my pliers. Nope. Not yet. Oh dear. Yep, nope. Well, that's gone horribly wrong. Always good to see the mistakes as they happen. Just to know that nobody's above the law. Okay, I'm going to undo that. Otherwise, there's going to be a huge honking knot here. We're nearly there. Make it better or worse? Okay, there. Okay, there's that. And now there's one more knot left. Do not pull. I think that's going to be it. Yep, there we are. Wow, that was a journey. And what do we get out of that? We just got a little itty bitty baby stitch. It's all fine. I'm going to see if I can take some of that twist out. Just, yeah, there we are. Okay, we'll try again. Anyone? There we are. Now that I've got 3 done, I'll do maybe 5. And then I'll figure out something different. There. Yeah, these aren't turning out too badly once we get the hang of it. There. So the Blue Jays, my baseball team, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, lost a game last night, 20-1. That is an appallingly large loss. And I'm on a couple of baseball chats. I think I told you that, or text groups, or whatever we want to call them. Kind of totally freaked out. And they're like, and so I'm trying to get them all off the edge. And it's like, you know what? It's one game. You flush the game, and you start again. It'll all be fine. Nobody's particularly convinced, but sometimes you just need straws. You need straws to cling to. And I have to remind everybody that this time last year we were very sad because we had not something called meaningful September baseball. Means that you weren't even close to being in the playoffs and nothing mattered. They were just games to go see as games. But now we have meaningful September baseball, and we have, as a collective fan base, completely forgotten how to navigate. Maybe that's the word. We've completely forgotten what the stress feels like. And many of you, there's certainly people who've been here a while. If anybody's new, I got brain issues. Everything's fine. Great circle of care. Nothing to worry about. I have taken to just turning off the game and then periodically getting updates, because that seems to be far more easy on my nervous system. When I go to games, it's not the same as just watching it on TV. And I think part of that is because, one, I score the games, so I have something active to do. And also, you're there and you have a socially acceptable outlet. And that is cheering for the team, booing the umps, like doing all of the fan things. Oh, this is turning out pretty good now that I got the hang of it. That was me jinxing everything. So we'll see what we get. It's cold today. I had the furnace on for like a couple hours. But the sun came out and it's really beautiful. And so Gracie and I were out. And then she got super interested in a chipmunk. So then that sort of brought us all in. And then she had dish complaints. She's now peacefully back, having all of the things that she wanted done. She's back having a snooze. And I am considering what I want for dinner. There. For anybody who is remotely interested, I am doing colonial knots, not French knots. French knots go straight like that. And a colonial knot sort of does this sort of initial weird thready loop thing. And they're kind of the same, but they're also different. They both end in a knot, but one sort of has a bit of it sort of sits better on top of itself, if that makes any sense at all. And I think that's what a colonial knot does. Here we are. Oh, it's turning. It's why they call it slow stitching, isn't it? It's why they call it slow stitching. And a colonial knot, just like a French knot, allows you to do as many wraps as you want. So I do, this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could do much taller ones. You can do like, I think French knot, it for some unknown reason, is sort of like a 3-wind. But it's not necessarily... There's an institution somewhere, possibly in London, this like the Royal Embroidery or Needlework Academy, and if you graduate from that, you're all that in a bag of nuts, which is superb. They probably have some definition of, well, it needs to be this way or that way. Luckily, they don't have roaming auditors that will burst in through the door and go, "Let me see your colonial knots. We're going to check for wraps." They just won't. And the movement that I am doing with the needle is just doing like a twisting, like just trying to twist the needle a bit. And that seems to just give the thread just that little bit of space so that the needle will pass through. I should fill in that whole space with knots. Sure, why not? Oh, this kilt is going to be the... I need to find some interfacing for the waistband. And I need to do some measurements. I think I've got a like a dress form. I need to hang it on the dress form. See what it looks like. See how much I need to take in at the actual waist. And I made another milk carton, Mamagami, for the Tibetan vest, which is also humming along in the background. And the coat, the Boro coat, that also has the Blue Jay stuff to it, that, oops, that sounded not healthy. That's a playoff coat. So regular season kilt, and I am close to being done for the coat as well. It's really only the collar that I need to sew on and then baste, or at least hem. I should write down a list of all of these things that I've got going on here. I accumulate ideas faster than I can execute. And that's, well, one of the many problems. And it's not really a problem. It's just, I guess, what the creative mind looks like. It's like, ooh, I like that. Ooh, isn't that pretty? Ooh, I want to do that. I want one of those. I have a hat that I want to knit. And that comes from the Time Team, which is the archaeology show from the UK. And the head archaeologist has this really colorful kind of gnome hat. Like it's got a long tail to it. And I have got pictures off the internet of what that hat looks like. I can fairly easily reproduce it. I know the yarn that I want to use, etc., etc. Maybe after I get an even number of sock pairs done, I will give myself a break and do a hat. Okay, this is the last one. Ariane Zercher, who is a 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. An incredible textile artist. Talks about wanting to use every single scrap of fiber. Like this is like, I can't do anymore. It's like, yeah, well, let's see if we can squeak one more. Oh, let's just squeak one more. It's like, there is no squeaking. Get a new thread. There. You can barely see it, but you can feel it. So, what do I want to do now? I don't know. No. Close your art jar. That's a bit better. That's kind of the, let's do that. Sometimes it's the small spaces that make the difference in being able to just keep making progress, one foot in front of the other. There's an end. Is this going to work out? Nope. Okay, this, I've got blanks. Not making it any better. Okay, well, I'm just going to keep traveling until we get to an end. Maybe. Easy. Oh, there's an end. A knitter, a long-time knitter, used to say that the easiest way to get rid of complex knots was not to pull, but to just let the thing bounce. Because heaven forbid we should not know in the event we need to. We will never need to know. And yes, I'm going to do a long bit. There. Okay. And I'm just going to split this into two. 1, 2, There we are. Oh, there's the red. Whee! Oops, sorry, didn't mean to bang you. Okay. Okay, so what kind of a stitcheroo do we want to do here? Well, let's do the littlest one first, and let's just do some colory in. This is certainly a good sight easier than the knots. It's quicker. I'm going to have to look up I have a couple of books. One is by Sue Spargo, and I don't know who the other one is by, but it is essentially a stitch encyclopedia. And I need to see what else I can do because I'm doing a lot of running stitches. So I've got running stitches, I've got the back stitching. This I think is some kind of stitch. Those are knots. There should be something else that I'd like to, just to try. There's two embroiderers on the internet, on YouTube, and it feels like the embroidery crowd is absolutely doing cross stitch work at the moment. So they're all hot on doing cross stitch and doing all kinds of really interesting variations to it, which I would do if this was a crazy quilt, but it's not. And cross stitch looks too counted cross stitchy and would sort of, I think, ruin the vibe. So I'm just doing like stitches, like kind of like pointillism, but for stitches, if that makes any sense. Oops. We nearly did an hour. Oops. Oops. Right in the center. There we are. And just like that. There. So I think I'm going to call that a video. Set all up for the next time. There we are. It's getting there. Putting this yellow down really made a huge difference. And if I can figure out some way to be able to do this pink in some kind of a prompt way, then this will be close to being done. There's a little bit light blue there, some green. There's this navy as well that I've just realized that's a color. It's in there. Well, there we are. Okay, so that is it for So Saturday. I do have to go and work on my kilt. But I need dinner first, I think. Dinner first, clear head, and any kind of good mojo that you can send my way would super appreciate, because I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing, which is, well, that we're used to. Anyways, that's all for now. Please take very good care of yourself. Stay out of trouble. Always love you lots, and we'll see you soon. Bye now.